We have this guy up here. He's the top of Ire, representing Africa Freaks. He is Trap.
And in the upper left, in the in the red, the little corporal, he's Clem. I guess, Marines shoot lead, so I'm not that far off, but, we just chalk it up to 5 a.m. It's fine. Actually, well, it's 7 o'clock now, but you know what? I still consider that my excuse.
I gotta say, I'm actually pretty impressed with how this day has been advancing. We're already on our 4th match of the day, and we still got 2 more plus a finals. This is round robin, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody plays everybody, so the Koreans definitely have to be feeling a little bit tired right now. They've had a full day of StarCraft 2, and it just keeps on going.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? Unfortunately, this cannot be a LAN. And actually, you know what? This event wouldn't happen if it was offline. It's a $1,000 tournament plus Matcherino. Make sure to go use the Matcherino codes. But at the end of the day, a $1,000 tournament is not the type of budget you're looking for when you look to see whether you're going to ship players across national boundaries, get all these flights. I mean, the flights might even cost that much if you're trying to get Trap and Raynor together into some mutual location. So the benefits of COVID, we get a lot more of these mid-sized online tournaments than what we saw previously. But that also means that you get maybe it's late in the evening for Koreans, it's early in the morning for Europeans, whatever the case may be. Although what, actually, I was
It's
talking
like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, it's like this is the perfect time for Europeans to play or cast. Yeah, Miguel, his call time was like 11 a.m. his time, and I gotta say, just a little jealous, even if I am absolutely here for this type of game or for this type of tournament. And it's not that late for the Koreans either. It's I think it's like 5 KST was when this tournament started, something like that.
Yeah, it was like 5 to 7. Yeah, I think it was actually 7 p.m. PST or ES words English, whichever time zone.
KST. There we go.
Yeah, KST. Yeah, one of those. But yeah, it's not that late. It's about 10 p.m. then. They're probably going out for some gyopi later, or some Korean barbecue. I think that's the best way to end a night. But speaking
You know what?
Go ahead.
No, you had something substantive to say about the game, so I'll let you talk.
Nah, it's nothing really too much here. Clem's going to be going for what looks to be a very standard Widowmine timing, and Trap is just going to be getting that Oracle, so pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, it's funny, though, talking about things, I have never, unfortunately, can I even consider myself a StarCraft fan? I have never had Korean barbecue. I've never had that opportunity. I've never lived in a place where that actually is a thing, which, am I even a StarCraft fan at this point? Like, what am I even doing? But as we talk about the game a little bit more, we do have a Stargate opener coming in here from Trap, which is a pretty good way to deal with the incoming Widowmine drop, especially considering this is not the most committed Widowmine drop. Now, there's a build that Cure first showed against Zest, where he goes and it's like a one-base armory, Hellbat, Widowmine, thinking, oh, that Oracle already getting so much damage done. Not even a ton of damage necessarily, but removing that Widowmine before anything happens, that just takes the wind out of Clem sails, absolutely.
Oh!
And there's the Widowmine. There's the second one.
Oh my goodness, Inu, thank you for showing us that hidden right below the SCVs. That was the best trap I think I've ever seen, no pun intended. But yeah, I mean, with that, that's a lot of wind out of Trap's sail. He did get 3 workers for his trouble, so he will have that 10 worker supply lead as he goes up to his 3rd Nexus. And actually, Clem, he's not really being too aggressive with this. 1 Widowmine hanging out there, 1 at home for the defense. And I think from here, he's just going to start to gear up for the next stage, his push that will be coming across the map soon.
Yep, we are going to see Stim get started rather soon. As soon as these barracks do complete and we get the tech labs on them, we're going to get combat shields on the way. We're going to get concussive shells. We're going to get +1 attack, and this is going to be the 5 racks +1 timing. Although it looks like Clem, he's choosing to get a little bit aggressive a little bit earlier on, saying maybe, okay, my push a little bit later, if this gets cleaned up, won't be as powerful. But this is a really weird timing that no one does, and I think it's going to be powerful just because no one does it, as there are just a bunch of Adepts ready for the defense. And, well, if the Adepts decide to shave on top of this, there is a Widowmine here. So Trap actually, CLEM not actually allowing that to happen. I'm surprised we don't see him just picking up here, as he does not sit on top of the Widowmine. Widowmine will be removing Phoenix, but now the Phoenix are here. And CLEM will be forced to back up, but he will not be able to escape. And I don't know how I feel about that push, to be totally honest. Yeah, it may catch your opponent off guard. That may be a thing. But it means that that following push, the 7-minute, 5 racks, +1 stim combat shield timing, is not going to be nearly as powerful. And when that's the case, when you're already a little bit behind because you lost a couple workers and your third's not as fast, that's not a great situation to be in. Not at all.
Certainly not. Now, CLEM does have the army supply advantage right now, 36 to 25. Not the biggest of deals because Trap will be going up to Colossus, which, I mean, are worth their weight in gold. Versus the army composition here. He's also going to be going for double forge. So being a little bit greedy on the upgrade counter here. Trap as well just going to be kind of diving in here. And this does mean that CLEM has to expend a lot of energy kind of just hanging out in his base. So that's a lot of time and attention that's not going to be on Trap's side of the map. All right, here we go.
Absolutely. Well, now we've hit the move-out timing. I believe the bunker had... Well, actually, I don't even remember whether CLEM got a bunker this game, but this is the timing where the bunker would be salvaged. We have the move-out coming on out here. And, well, +1 stim combat shields, despite everything, it's a powerful timing, but this is not the big committed push that we would expect. It's only 2 medevacs, so no tanks, not the 16 extra Marine, or I think it was like 10 extra Marines that CLEM moved across the map. They've all died. So now we do have this drop coming in the main base. The Phoenix are out of position. And CLEM will find these. Oh, he's going to find these upgrades. Armor's going to go down. Attack looks like it's going to stay alive. But recall has been forced. Overcharge has been forced. And there are too many Marines here. Okay, the Phoenix won't go down, but the drop will be defended. And, you know, you talked about a little earlier. Trap being maybe a little bit greedy. Going for those +1 upgrade, those 1/1 upgrades. I don't know if that's greed so much as a mark of confidence here in this game. As Trap said, look, you know what? You sacrificed 10 Marines for no gain. I got a little bit of an economic damage early. Your Widowmine drop did nothing. And, well, maybe I'm going to be able to get away with this. But this drop here on the high ground will be able to depower. Actually, I don't think it's going to depower anything, but knocking at pylons is really nice. And now CLEM's push on the third base in Erdis is coming on in here, but it is only 1 tank. And 1 tank, well, that's not quite as powerful as the 3-tank push you normally see.
All right, so Trap is kind of just rotating around trying to find this army. CLEM has brought everything to bear. What is the Zealot count looking at? Because that's going to be the big thing I'm looking at right now. We got 12 Zealots there, so that's going to be pretty good. But the Siege Tanks, or the Widowmines, actually going to get picked up here, so this is going to be a pretty easy hold for Trap, I must say. As the Zealots charge on top, he's not even able to pick off any of those Phoenix, so they're going to get some nice, clean kills here. Looks like he's just going to stand and fight in a desperate attempt to get rid of some of those, but I think Trap may start to break CLEM here as that supply just starts to dip quite heavily.
Absolutely. Looks like we've hit that inflection point where, well, Trap just continues to rally across the map. Archon's rallying across the map, which is not something you see all that often. Phoenix getting on top of all the medevacs, everything in the air, and GG Trap. He's going to take game number 1.
You know, I got to say, quick, clean, and to the point there for Trap. He really didn't take a lot of damage. The Terran player usually has the Opus where he has to kind of go across the map, get a little bit of damage done in order to kind of justify anything, but he wasn't able to do so. I think he kind of just got caught really off guard in so many situations there. And yeah, I hope that he can start to bring it back. Maybe a little bit of a cheeky shenanigan coming up in Lightshade for our next map.
Yep, absolutely. We have seen CLEM be successful against Trap when he's able to get damage done early. And I think the big story about that game was he sacrificed so many of his Marines early on, which meant he couldn't go for that 7-minute timing that his build was allowing him to do. Because that's kind of how that build-up goes. And that meant that his push was not going to be nearly as impactful, which meant that Well, it hit a little bit later, hit a little bit less powerfully, which meant that Trap, by then, he had Charge, he had 3 Colossus, he had Phoenix. And there was not a world where that push really worked out well for Clem. But he took a 6-minute third base. He did commit his tech to that push. And when that happens, well, you're kind of short the economy. You need to really play that longer defensive game without getting some sort of damage done. So Trap, well, he says, oh, well, I got your army, dude.
Yeah.
Let's march across the map. And that's kind of what happened. But I would not be surprised to see something a little bit more aggressive here in game number 2 on Lightshade. It's a smaller map, as you mentioned. It has an avenue for something a little bit crazier, a little bit zanier. And Clem, he has shown his capacity for that. I believe the game he won against Trap in DreamHack Masters did involve, I think it was Cloaked Widow Mines. It was a, he got a lot of damage done in the early game. I do remember that much. But hey, Passer, we're into game number 2.
We certainly are. And let me just get everything set up here for you guys so that you can see all the professionalism that I do not have. Let's introduce these lovely gentlemen down here spawning in. He is the baguette of our series for Team Liquid. This is actually for Africa Freaks. He is Trap. Not even the right race.
Yes, and the actual Frenchman, the actual purveyor of baguettes in this series, down 1-0, but looking to fight his way back from Team Liquid, it's Clem.
Oh, man. All right. So we do have the probe going to be coming off at a regular standard time. Neither side really has any buildings where they should not be. So I think Clem does want to kind of just win this one a little bit more straight up. We'll have to see how the next couple of minutes kind of just go for him. And by the way, if you want to be a hero in your own games, make sure you check out the Match Arena page and use that free code that we got. That will add 50 cents to the prize pool. And also, did we just have something happen in chat? Looks like we got a "we on top." I don't know what that means, but okay.
Oh, that's been there the entire the entire broadcast. I think it has something to do with like the Alpha X channel is one of the top channels on Trovo right now in terms of viewership. So I think that's what that is. That or it's some sort of I think Trovo maybe was running an event. Not all that impactful for what's happening in this game. And you know what, Pastor, it's funny. We see Proxy Robo or Proxy Stargate happen so much that I'm just kind of every time I do an intro, I'm like, there's a probe moving across the map as the intro's done. Logically, I know that that's just a standard scout timing, no big deal. But I'm like, Proxy Void Race. I'm like, no, what am I doing? It's not happening. But I've been made so gun shy by the prevalence of that build of the previous months that and that's what happens here.
Oh, it's all good. We do have our first kind of Reaper outside of the TVT matchup. This is kind of one of the reasons that you don't really see it that much anymore because it is so easy to kind of push away there, and it does slow down the factory, which only just now started. Now, the last time these two met, I think it was Pillars of Gold, where Trap did go for some little Invisiboys that it kind of just wrecked Clem's face. So the question is it going to be that? Is it going to be a blink off the back of this Twilight Council? What is really in Trap's head right now? Because I think more than likely it's going to be something aggressive against the
I don't know. I know. I certainly cannot trap my head around it. Wow, you know that's bad, terrible. Ignore me. But it will be a blink opener coming on here from Trap. Not looking to do something too sneaky, but getting these two adepts in behind the mineral line is going to be really nice for our Red Protoss player, as he just is going to be able to deny mining from the natural for a good bit of time. Now, this Reaper will find his way in. And did he see the fact that the Twilight Council was researching?
Yeah, he did. He must have. Like, he did click on it as well. The Adept's going to be gunning a little bit of damage done here, but they are not that long for this world. They have to shade on out of there. Not before getting a little bit of additional damage, but now that Clem knows that's going to be on the way, the question is, what's his response? Obviously, he's going to have Stim much earlier, and that's going to help. But versus Stalkers, you do want some sort of AoE. You need some siege tanks to kind of hold the fort, because otherwise, those Stalkers are going to be able to get some pretty decent pickoffs.
Well, Pastor, you've got to remember, this is 2-gate blink. It's not all that aggressive of an option. 2-gate blink is much closer to the I am as defensive as possible blink opener versus I'm as aggressive as possible, which is, 4-gate. Although I have seen stats do 1-gate blink, which was really surprising, but
Interesting.
it actually didn't work out for him at all. He just kind of got smashed by a push. That being said, we do have Trap. Robo Bay is on the way here. We're just going to see him be defensive. He might move out with like 8 Stalkers and try to see if he can get some sort of damage done. But realistically, this is to defend his third base, to allow him to get into Colossus production appropriately. And this is actually a really fast stim from CLEM. Generally, well, stim is almost starting right around now. You generally see stim be extremely delayed when you're trying to deal with this Stalker pressure. So we're going to have to see exactly how CLEM decides to make use of this, as this is... Do we have 3 barracks? No, this is functionally a 2-1. If you think about it, this is in line with a 2-1-1.
This is
Comet Shield's
exactly.
now on the way, +1 on the way.
This is exactly a 2-1-1, actually. Just with a little bit of a mix-up here, we do have the Marauders going to be trying to hold down the fort. And, yeah, Beyond has really made this style work so well versus so many different types of races. It used to be just Zerg, but Beyond kind of fine-tuned it for Protoss, and now we've seen a resurgence of it in the coming months. And here we go. Clem has to be a bit careful here. He doesn't want to get trapped by those force fields up the ramp, so he's being very passive right now, not stimming just yet. He's probably waiting for combat shields before he really goes too hard. Nice move right there. Going to save that Marauder as well.
Exactly, man. I gotta say, that was some impressive micro there, keeping the Marauders alive, and that allows Clem to continue his aggression. And you know what? Functionally, you would think that going a 2-1-1, even if it does hit a little bit later than your traditional 2-1-1, because you have to get Marauders and things like that, you would think that this 2-1-1 into a 4-minute third base would be incredibly powerful for the Terran. But I mean, look at this. He's only up 7 army supply for the most of that tangling. He was not up any army supply at all. Trap is comfortably into his third base. He's up 10 workers, which you might expect it to be a little bit higher, but still, he's got his Colossus he's got 1 Colossus on the map. He's got more on the way. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way. The one thing he's missing is he does not have a forge. There's no +1 on the way, but that's just a concession to the fact that this is an aggressive option from Clem here in this game number 2. But Clem, he's got to get more done than this. He's killed
here we
he's
go.
killed a unit.
Yeah, I think he just killed 1 observer, but here we go. The Stalkers are in position here. Clem has to see that. And yeah, that was about to be like Bomber versus Pult levels of bad. But here we go. The Colossus is actually undefended right now. They only had the force fields, so that is actually going to be enough. Clem not taking the chance to dive on top of that. So that was about to be pretty bad.
Yeah, man. Passer showing his age in StarCraft. That Bomber Pult game was from like 6 to 7 years ago, I think, at this point. So,
that was back when WCS was still like WCS America or something, like way back when.
Better days. Great game, though. That was when Pult was, dominant across the entire world, and Bomber actually won a game, and a game that he was not expected to win. This was when Bomber was kind of on a little bit of a having a down year, and still he starts like really being really good. So that was an insane series. But that's neither here nor there. 7 years ago is not now. We have a different cadre of Terrans. It's actually Bomber retired again, even if he did come back. Now, Clem's going to try to get into this main base, but that is going to get nothing. The 2 Marauders will drop. 1 Widowmine will go down. That's going to be about it. And now Clem's saying, okay, well, you know what? Your army's in the main base. Maybe I can get something done in the third, but there are 2 Colossus there. There is charge there. There are force fields. Trap says, no, I am buttoned up tighter than a Tupperware jar. Because that is exactly how that saying goes.
I am sure it is. I won't look it up later because I'll just agree with you there. But we got the Templar archives coming in as well. I think Trap is starting to kind of hit that critical mass of units here. So he is going to be able to kind of hold in all these different locations. Stalkers in the main base, the Colossus Zealot in the third. I think he's pretty safe here. Clem kind of losing his opportunities to get some work done. Now, he is going for Vikings, which, honestly, they're good versus the Colossus, but once the Colossus die, they're not really as effective anymore. So I'm kind of worried with the fact that he's making so many. I think that gas would rather be expended on the Ghosts, on the EMPs, which will help out a lot more.
Well, you got to remember, this is 3 Colossus, and you do have to deal with them quickly. The math, of course, it's 4. It's 3 to 4, 3 to 4 Vikings for every Colossus, so that's kind of where Clem's going to be looking to go. As now he's sitting on 9 Vikings. That's almost kind of where you want to need. Yeah, actually, that's where he's just going to stop. As now he looks like he's going to try to take the fight here, but his army is not together, not yet. And the Starks wobbling forward, knocking down some of these Vikings before anything happens. But now the Vikings, they're going to try to take a better position here on top of the high ground. No Colossus going down thus far, but Clem, he's going to take a pretty decent fight. Now up 13 army supply. He's going to stem on forward. Once again, 1 Colossus will go down with this last Viking volley. That being said, though, not a lot of Vikings left on the map. Only 2. So that means that it's going to be that much more difficult for Clem to take this fight. And now Trap, he is doubling. Oh, wait, he's up 20 army supply on his opponent here. The third base looks like it will be broken. Clem, he's waiting for more Vikings to come on in to make sure he can take this engagement, but I think that's going to be a little bit too little, too late, as now the third base has been lifted. The SCVs, they're going to try to take this fight, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough. Not at all. The SCVs are all going down. The army is going down, and Trap, he's going to take it 2-0.
The EMPs just a little bit too late there.